but again, it's aesthetics, and often, and that's why I always have that "what would you change about your sample" question up there. The first draft in the industry, anyway, first draft is never the draft you go with. On occasion, it might be, but it's usually after you make that first sample that you sit back and go, that didn't quite come out the way I imagined, or I liked how that happened, and that was an accident. Okay, so those are all attached. So this is going to be a full piece, but did I not make it big enough? Big. So I usually do the dot paper on the half and then make the full piece when I get to brown. My husband was angry at me this weekend because I was out of brown paper and I made him go to Home Depot to get some more.
Can't you just use that other stuff?
They have it at Home Depot?
Yeah, in the painting section. I hate Home Depot.
I got
really strong in there.
I got this at Virgil's, and that's a nice size too.
Yeah. So yeah, if you go into the painting section, because they use this stuff to mask out windows, or Staples in the packing section where you.
Is it cheaper?
Has 3M makes
I didn't ask him how much it cost, but it was right there. You know, it's half a mile from my house. It was a lot easier than going downtown. And he'd had to do it.
We have gone to them.
He's like, can't you use manila for this? So that's the question. Can't you use manila for this? Well, there's going to be times when we need to fold, and you can't really fold manila very easily. And this is cheaper than manila, so, and it's easier to come by. All right. It looks pretty. Okay. So how are we going to do this? We're actually adding 7 flares. So there's 1, 2, 3, the obvious ones, and we're adding half of a flare to the center front. So whatever flare you choose to do, you'll do a full one, a full one, a full one, and then the center front you'll do a half. Okay? So I'm thinking I want 1.5 inches instead. So at the center front I need to flare out how much? 3/4. So I'm going to put a little mark on my center front to know where 3/4 is, so I can attach my piece, my very first piece there. So you're going to secure one piece at a time, one little strip at a time, and if your strip breaks, no big deal. Just make sure it matches up at the top. You did that. This is like the flare skirt. It's going to all start feeling familiar. Okay? And each time will be faster. Then I need to come up with my next spacing, so 1.5 inches here. Put a little mark. Shift it until it hits the mark. And tape it down. So this is like a teeny little mini flare skirt, like a flare within a flare. Okay? You get the idea?
Yep.
Once we spread it enough, we'll add seam allowance. So check out what we've added. Same amount that we just added on the other skirt, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. We don't need to add any at the bottom. It's a narrow hem. But I would take, now that we've got these little rectangle spaces, I would take a French curve to blend out the spaces in between. So you don't necessarily have to do 1.5, like you could make this really flippy if you wanted to. The more you add though, the more fabric it takes, but if you don't plan on making it, so what? Just know what you did, because we're going to use that same measurement in the back. Whatever we add to the front, we want to add the same amount to the back. Otherwise, if it's much bigger on one side than the other, the skirt will tend to tip. So if I'm adding 1.5 inches 7 times, I want to add 1.5 inches 7 times in the back so that the skirt side seams will remain balanced. I believe that's probably why she did that little ruffle in the back. So that's lunchtime. You have time after lunch to work on this, but this is a nice